Lily, why did you do this for me?
Because I have always loved you.
The prince almost died that winter, and the only person willing to sacrifice everything to save him was a maid. Years later, that single sentence would become one of the most famous stories in the kingdom. But on the night it happened, no one knew, not even Prince Nathan. The palace had always admired Lily's hair. It was long, golden, and beautiful enough that noble women often asked how she cared for it. Some joked that she looked more like a princess than a servant. Lily always smiled politely when she heard those comments, because there was only one opinion she secretly cared about. Prince Nathan's. For years, Lily had loved him in silence, not with expectation, not with hope, simply with the quiet acceptance that some people are destined to love from a distance. Nathan had always been kind to her. He remembered her name when most nobles never bothered to learn the names of servants. He asked about her family. He thanked her when she brought tea. Small things. Yet those small things became precious to Lily. Unfortunately, kindness was not love, and a maid could never be long beside a prince. Then came the winter that changed everything. A deadly illness swept through the kingdom, and before long, Prince Nathan fell sick. At first, everyone expected him to recover quickly. Instead, his condition worsened. Days passed, then weeks. The fever refused to break. The palace physicians grew increasingly desperate. One evening, while delivering linens, Lily overheard two royal doctors speaking behind a closed door. Rare medicine existed that it could save the prince, but obtaining it required a fortune, and political disputes had delayed access to the royal treasury. Time was running out. Nathan might not survive. That night, Lily sat alone in her small room, staring at her reflection. Her fingers moved slowly through the long golden hair her late mother had always loved. Tears filled her eyes because deep down, she already knew what she was about to do. Before sunrise the next morning, Lily traveled to the city. Several hours later she entered a small merchant's shop. The merchant examined her hair carefully, then asked if she was certain. Lily nodded. The scissors began to cut. With each lock that fell to the floor, her heart seemed to break a little more, not because she regretted it, because it felt like saying goodbye to the last piece of her mother. When it was over, she barely recognized herself. Merchant handed her a pouch of coins, enough to buy the medicine, enough to save a life. Treatment arrived at the palace 3 days later. No one knew who had paid for it. No one asked. The physicians simply rushed to save the prince. Slowly, Nathan recovered. His fever disappeared. His strength returned. The kingdom celebrated, and Lily returned quietly to work. As though nothing had happened. Several weeks later, Nathan noticed something strange. Lily looked different. For days he couldn't identify what had changed. Then one morning, he finally realized. Her hair, the beautiful golden hair he had always admired, was gone. The discovery bothered him more than it should have. "Why did you cut it?" he asked one afternoon. Lily smiled softly. "I wanted a change, Your Highness." Nathan nodded. But something about the answer felt incomplete. Over the following months, he found himself noticing Lily more often. When she missed work because of a cold, he asked where she was. When she returned, he felt relieved. When she smiled, he smiled back. One advisor even joked, "You seem unusually concerned about a maid, Your Highness." Nathan laughed it off, yet the comment stayed with him, because he wasn't sure the advisor was wrong. Everything changed during a royal banquet 6 months later. An elderly physician approached Nathan while discussing his recovery. The old man smiled warmly. "The kingdom should never forget the woman who saved your life." Nathan frowned. "What woman?" The physician looked confused. "The maid." Silence. "What maid?" The physician suddenly realized something. You mean, no one told you? Nathan slowly shook his head. The physician's expression softened. She sold her hair to buy the medicine. The room disappeared around him. For several seconds, Nathan could not breathe. Who? The physician looked genuinely surprised. Lily, that night. Nathan began searching for answers, and the more he learned, the worse he felt. The merchant confirmed the sale. Another servant revealed Lily had specifically begged everyone to keep it secret. Then he discovered something else. The day after selling her hair, another maid had asked her a simple question, a painful question. Was he worth it? Nathan heard this story from someone who had witnessed it. According to the witness, Lily smiled through tears and answered, yes. Just one word. Yes. Nathan sat alone for a long time after hearing it. Because suddenly he understood something terrifying. The woman who had loved him most had never asked for anything in return. Not gratitude. Not recognition. Not even love. Later that evening, he found Lily in the servants' garden. Moonlight illuminated the shorter hair she had spent months trying to hide. For several moments neither spoke. Then Nathan finally asked, why didn't you tell me? Lily lowered her eyes. If I had told you, it wouldn't have been a gift anymore. Nathan felt his chest tighten. Every sacrifice, every tear, every act of kindness. She had carried all of it alone. Several months later, the kingdom gathered for an announcement everyone believed would reveal the prince's engagement to a noblewoman. Great hall overflowed with aristocrats. Whispers filled the air. Then Prince Nathan stepped forward. And shocked everyone. Instead of introducing a princess or duchess, he called Lily to stand beside him. Gasps echoed throughout the room. Nathan waited for silence, then spoke clearly enough for every noble to hear. The woman standing beside me saved my life. The hall became completely silent. Nathan turned toward Lily. I cannot give back what she lost. His voice softened. But I can spend the rest of my life proving that her sacrifice mattered. Tears filled Lily's eyes, because for the first time, she was no longer invisible. For the first time, the entire kingdom knew her name. And for the first time, the man she loved was no longer looking past her. He was looking only at her. 1 year later, when they married in the royal gardens, Lily's golden hair had finally begun to grow back. But Nathan often joked that he had fallen in love with her long before that. Back when she was simply a kind-hearted maid who never expected anything in return. And perhaps that was why their story endured. Because crowns could be inherited, but love had to be earned. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional royal romances, palace dramas, and unforgettable stories of love, sacrifice, and second chances.